So what we're going to do is we're going to learn something that's a little bit a different way of dividing polynomials, and it's called synthetic division. So we're still dividing polynomials, but this is getting rid of those x squared, x, right, the variables here. So we're going to take a look at examples, and then we'll go on from there. Okay, so this is how we are going to divide here. We're just going to actually drop the variables and just keep the coefficients. Okay, so how do we do that? Has to be in descending order still, descending order, and then we're just going to write down the coefficients. So what's the coefficient of x cubed? It's 1. What's the coefficient of negative, oops, I already said it. The x squared? Negative 1.
Future instruction for the owner of the Nissan GTL 471 parking identified in a no parking zone. Please move the vehicle immediately or it will be towed. Thank you.
Okay, there you go. So what we're going to do is we're just going to write down the coefficients. Okay, so that's kind of nice. It's already focus on that. And then what we're going to do is this is going to be an x minus an a. X minus a, we're going to talk more about that in a second, but we're going to take just the a value. We're just going to take just the a value. Can you see here? X is x, minus minus. So the a is just a 2. Okay? So we're just going to take the 2. We're even going to drop that one, so we're going to put 2 there. Okay, good. So that one's already looking simpler. So the very first thing that we're going to do is this one here. This coefficient will go down. Okay. And then we're going to multiply 1 times 2. That's going to give us 2. So we put the 2 here. And then from here, we're going to add them up. Okay, negative 1 plus positive 2 is 1. Okay, do the same thing again. 1 times 2 is 2, so we're going to put it down here underneath the negative 5. And then they're going to add them up. Negative 3. And then you go negative 3 times 2. Negative 6. Add them up, 0. Okay, and that's it, right? Now, this is the numbers of the coefficients of our quotient. Okay, so if this is x cubed divided by x, so that the very first one, the part of the quotient will be x squared. Yes, so this one would be 1x squared. And then this one would be 1x, yes. And then this one would be minus 3. And then this one would be the remainder 0. Remainder 0. Okay, so we did a synthetic division there. So the final answer would be x cubed minus x squared minus 5x plus 6. And if we're going to divide that by x minus 2, the answer we're going to get is x squared plus x minus 3. You don't have to do the remainder 0 because it's remainder 0. Okay? Okay, so I know that you're paying attention and you're just looking at this, so I'm going to recap this, okay? So what do we do? Step number 1. Step number 1, first, we need to have the dividend to be in an order, right? Yeah, so this is in an order. And if there's something missing, we fill in the zeros. place value holder. Okay, then we're just gonna write down the coefficients. So over here, we write down coefficients only. Okay, we're gonna write down the coefficients only. Now, the divisor is gonna be, instead of x minus 2, we're gonna look at the value of the a, which, okay, the a would be positive 2, so you put the 2 there. And then once it's all set up, the very first one, you drop that one, and then you multiply, and then add. Multiply, and then add. Multiply, and then add. Okay. And then you'll see the exponent x cubed divided by x. So we know the quotient will have an exponent of x squared. Okay. So I'll give you a moment to copy that down, and then we're gonna do a few more examples and then go on from there. Okay. Okay, is that good? You've copied it down? Okay, we're going to take a look at example number 6. Example 6. Okay. So first, we have to double check if it's in descending order. Is it in descending order? It means going down in exponents, right? And then we're going to fill in the gaps. So you got x to the 4th. Okay, we're missing a term, right? Okay, so we're missing the x cubed. Okay, so we're gonna go 2 for x to the 4th. I'll just write it down here first. So 2x to the 4th plus 0x cubed minus 3x squared plus 4x minus 2. So all of that, so I'm gonna put it inside the brackets, divided by x plus 1. Okay, so descending order, we're filled in the missing terms. Okay, so what are we gonna do? We're just gonna write down the coefficients, only the numbers. So 2, 0, negative 3, 4, negative 2. Good. Now, we're going to have this divisor as going to be x minus a value, x minus a. So x is there, but then this one, do you notice that it's going to be, supposed to be minus, but this is plus. So what can we do so it kind of looks like x minus? Okay. So this one is going to be x minus 1. Yes. Is that okay? So what's your a value? Minus 1. A value is minus 1. Right? So our a value is minus 1. So we're going to use that outside. So negative 1. Okay, so far so good?
Isn't it simple like you make x plus 1 is equal to 0, like a linear equation, then x is equal to 1?
Yeah, you could do that. Okay, that's a nice thought. Yeah. So what you're saying is this, what your classmate here is saying, is it okay if I go like this? What's x plus 1 equals 2? You can't see that, sorry. X plus 1 equals to 0.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you bring this to the other side, is x equals to negative 1. So a is negative 1, like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's okay too. That's perfect. Is that good? So either or is, you can think of it that way, certainly. So, going back to this, is everybody clear about this one? Because if we put...
Can you please repeat?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. When we're going to be dividing, we're going to be dividing this binomial with x minus a. X minus a. That's going to be the form. It's going to be x minus a. So when you look at this one, x is x, right?
Yes.
And then this one here is minus, but then the problem with this one is this is plus. So the reason why this is plus is because the a was negative 1. So if somebody put in x minus negative 1, right, the negative 1, negative and negative, we saw the simplified version of that already. So the a is negative 1. Is that okay? Yeah, good. Yeah. And I don't mind repeating it because, you know, sometimes like we hear it and then we thought that, oh yeah, I understand it, but then you kind of, oh yeah, maybe I don't quite understand it. Yeah, so please ask. Okay, so what do? The very first thing is to drop the 2, the first coefficient, and then we multiply 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, and then we're going to add, so that's going to be negative 2. Let's do the next one. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. We add negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is going to give us 1. We add them. It's 5. 5 times negative 1 minus 5 minus 7. Okay. So what's the quotient here? Yeah, what's the quotient? Okay, so this is x to the 4th, and if we divide it by x, that's going to give us an x cubed. Okay, yeah. So this is going to be 2x cubed minus 2x squared minus 1x or x plus 5, and then what happens to this one? Yeah, remainder negative 7. Okay, and this is our quotient. This is our quotient. So if we want to write it out, it becomes 2x to the 4th plus 0x cubed minus 3x squared plus 4x minus 2 divided by x plus 1. It's going to give us 2x cubed minus 2x squared minus x plus 5, remainder negative 7. Okay? Is that okay? Last example. Hmm?
Like, can you just take it out to write everything?
To take this out?
No.
Oh, oh up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So give you a moment to just copy that down, write it down. It's good? You okay? Last example. And this is slightly different. Let's read it first. Is it okay? You're good. Okay, let's take a look at page 10, last example in this. A polynomial is divided by x minus 2. So we don't know what the original polynomial is, but we know that whatever the polynomial is, it's divided by x minus 2. And then they said the quotient. Well, what is a quotient? The result. The answer. Right. Quotient means the result or the answer after we divide, right? So the answer or the quotient is x squared plus x minus 3. What is the original polynomial? So what are we going to do? Multiplication. Yes, yeah, that's right. So here, this is the polynomial x, right? And then we have we divide it by the divisor, right? The divisor. It's going to give us the quotient. Sometimes the quotient is just the polynomial quotient, but also sometimes there is a plus remainder. So plus remainder. So what they're saying is, I don't know what this is. I know the divisor. The divisor is x minus 2 because that's what it's being divided by. I know the quotient, the answer, that's that. And then they didn't mention any remainder, so the remainder is 0. Okay? So how can we figure this divided by this divisor equals to that? So how can we figure this part out? Yeah. Perfect. I like how IB is talking and using the right terminology. Multiply divisor with the quotient. Yeah. So let's do that. So divisor is x minus 2 and then times the quotient.
So your divisor is minus 2?
X minus 2. Yeah. Okay, so let's multiply that out and see what answer we get. So x times x squared, that's going to give us x cubed. X times x squared. X times negative 3.
It's negative 3x.
Negative 3x. Then I'm going to go to the 2. Negative 2 times x squared.
It's negative
2x squared. And then minus 2x plus 6. Okay, and then we're gonna fix it up, just clean it up a bit, combining like terms. So what would it look like? X cubed, combining the x squared, so we're gonna get a negative x squared. Combining the one with the x's, we're gonna have a negative 5x, and then plus 6. Plus 6. Okay. That's our answer. Okay, so that finishes up our division of polynomials. We saw two different ways. We saw yesterday dividing it long division, and then today we saw dividing using the synthetic division. Okay?